Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, officials find body of New Hampshire boy swept out to sea off North Carolina coast. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
This is a photo of the memorial service that was held for Wesley Belial Sunday in North Carolina. According to the local paper, many at the service were wearing orange, which was Wesley's favorite color. The service also included a statement from the Belial family, which said in part, Wesley was excited to visit the state of North Carolina. We also went on a wild horse tour in Corolla. He loved bouncing on the dirt road, the dunes, and seeing the wild horses. Wesley was walking with his mother on the beach in North Carolina's Outer Banks last Wednesday when a wave crashed on shore, sweeping him into the ocean. It set off an intense search, which included the Coast Guard and members of law enforcement, as well as people just looking for some way to help. The search suspended a day later, and instead it became a recovery mission that ended Monday morning, as his body was discovered on Corova Beach, according to the Kitty Hawk Police Department. That's approximately 34 miles north of the Kitty Hawk Beach where the 4-year-old disappeared. The police department says the boy's family in Manchester has been notified and arrangements are being made to bring him back to New Hampshire. The chief adding that he hopes the outpouring of support for the Belial family from around the world will bring them some amount of solace in this time of tremendous grief. The family did add in their statement that they have been devastated by this terrible accident, and your prayers and well wishes are comforting us. Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Teen driver on drugs in crash that killed pedestrian, injured 2 others, DA says. Let's take a listen to the video from WCVB Boston.
Erica, investigators just arrived back on scene here. They were taking pictures of the area right in front of this memorial. And, there are still a lot of things that we don't know this noon, including what charges that teen driver is facing and the identities of the victims. One by one, people came to pay their respects. A makeshift memorial at the scene of the end of a deadly rampage.
This is a residential, community. It's not fair that, a poor woman lost her life yesterday.
Police say a teenage boy was driving this silver Toyota SUV when he hit and killed a woman in the area of Spring and Emerald Streets. But instead of stopping, investigators say the driver kept going, striking 2 more people and killing their dog before crashing into the Citizens Bank on nearby Yeomans Avenue. Witnesses say it was traumatizing.
Just heard a lot of screaming, a bang, crash, and just, ugh.
The area where the car ended up is a school bus stop during the day. And this morning, as they waited near candles, flowers, and prayer messages, many parents are having to explain what happened to children too young to understand.
Anything can happen. You don't know. Life is too short.
As that driver, a juvenile, waits to face a judge, the entire community has questions about what happened and why.
Why did you not stop at the first scene? You obviously knew you hit something. You knew you hit somebody, of course, because you came flying down here and then you hit the wall and you hit 2 more people and killed a poor dog.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Suspect in deputy's killing held without bail after brief court appearance. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
Good morning to you, Christina and Joe. The feeling here is so much lighter than it has been in the past 3.5 days. Being in the town right now, you don't see state police, you don't see those game wardens, you don't see the FBI, police cruisers up and down these streets. Instead, it's getting back to a normal feel, but of course the mark of these past few days will have a lasting effect here. But again, we're learning more about the arrest itself. It happened just before 1 o'clock yesterday. These men and women have been working around the clock in a grueling, rough terrain, those woods. They told us yesterday they were searching in about 25 square miles. That ended near a campsite off of Route 139, as you guys mentioned, near the Fairfield-Norridge line. That was close to Martin Stream Road, where they had been focusing much of their search in those days. They said they had evidence to track him down. They said it was methodical and slow because of that terrain and because of the weather they were dealing with. They are not saying whether Williams was armed, only saying that he gave, quote, limited resistance. We do know that 200 different law enforcement officers were out here, all from 28 agencies, and we're getting just an idea of how much work was put into this arrest.
Selfless determination and teamwork that was displayed during this case is unmatched. And while the most visible component of this case is done, the manhunt, for the Major Crimes Unit detectives, much of their work is just beginning.
Absolutely. So many people here thanking those agencies, but as you just heard, their part of this is really just starting to begin, and the part of grieving is just starting to begin as well. Officers say that Corporal Cole's handcuffs were actually used to arrest Williams, and the sheriff yesterday saying that is fitting. He also said while he's extremely relieved that Williams is in custody, he's extremely saddened by the death of his deputy. He said yesterday, throughout this entire process, he was thinking of Corporal Cole.
Another officer been the victim of this case. We knew Gene would have been here every day, bringing his best effort to apprehend the suspect. He would have been proud of our efforts.
And that is something that they now focus on for the community here, while the other part of this investigation is just beginning for those agencies, for the community here, and for law enforcement that worked with Cole. That is what they are focused on now. You can see this memorial here behind me over my shoulder, as many people, as they drive by, as they walk by, will continue to think of him.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And also, the suspect accused of killing Corporal Gene Cole made a brief court appearance on Monday afternoon. The judge ordered John Williams held without bail on a charge of international or knowing murder. The judge ordered a mental health examination. The case was moved to Cumberland County. Williams continues to be held at the Maine State Prison. Afterward, several of Cole's family members left without comment. According to court documents, Williams told a relative he shot Cole in the head. The state medical examiner confirmed Cole's cause of death was a gunshot wound to the neck. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Monday evening. And here is a look at that U.S. stock market for this Monday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. CNBC IQ 100 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. US 10-year closed in the red and went down. Euro/USD closed in the red and went down. And VIX closed in the green and went up. Dow closes more than 100 points lower, but ekes out small gain for April. U.S. stocks fell on Monday, giving up gains seen earlier in the session as the telecommunications sector suffered a sharp pullback. Comedians defend Michelle Wolf for jokes at White House Correspondents' Dinner. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
That reaction to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, President Trump blasting the comedian Michelle Wolf for her speech. She's being accused of crossing the line with personal shots at members of the president's team. Our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, has more. Good morning, Cecilia.
Good morning, Michael. You know this. The presidential roast here in this town is tradition. It is a mix of politicians, the journalists who cover them, throw in a comedian, and it can definitely make for some awkward moments. The problem is this morning, many in the city say those jokes this year went too far. Washington's annual black tie celebration of the First Amendment this morning under fire. In the spotlight, comedian Michelle Wolf, accused of crossing the line. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders right there on stage, not laughing.
I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. Like, she burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies.
In the audience, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, stone-faced.
All she does is lie. If you don't give her a platform, she has nowhere to lie. It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the woods, how do we get Kellyanne under that tree? I'm not suggesting she gets hurt, just stuck. Stuck under a tree.
The backlash was fierce.
What happened last night was an atrocity.
Last night was over the line.
President Trump skipped the night once again, weighing in on Twitter, calling the night a big, boring bust, saying the so-called comedian really bombed. He offered his own counter-programming instead. In a Michigan campaign rally, he vented about everything from Democrats to immigration for an unfiltered hour and 15 minutes straight.
Is this better than that phony Washington White House Correspondents' Dinner? Is this more fun?
And the president is now calling for a major overhaul to the dinner or to even end it altogether. Many say that Sarah Sanders is owed an apology for having to sit there and listen to those jokes while she was on stage. So far from the organizers, no apology. The White House Correspondents Association, Michael, does say that the goal of this evening is to celebrate the First Amendment and journalism scholarships, and that Michelle Wolf's routine was not in the spirit of that.
All right, thanks to Cecilia. Definitely something to talk about. And the conversation won't stop anytime soon. Cecilia, thank you very much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that did it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with another newscast. And I'll have a news report later on this evening. Good night, everyone. Bye.